Okay, also while you weren't looking, I took some C-Temp, which is a template material, and set it on there, and you can see through it. It's transparent. And I marked it and cut the holes in it for the studs to make the head gasket with. Then you just lay it on top of your head gasket material and trace it out and stamp out your head gasket. So that's ready to go. That should fit on there just like so. And these long pieces don't need to be cut out. They don't match in the block anyway, so as long as there's a hole in there for the water to pass through, it just thermal siphons anyway, so you don't really need to make long holes in your gasket. So got that done. Getting ready to start on the valves. I've blued the valves up. I think I showed you. Blued the valves up, and I don't like where they're landing, so I'm going to have to grind the seats. So we're going to get on with that here. And to do the seats with, I brought the old haul out. Show you what it looks like here. This is how it comes in the box. This was probably built around 1940 from the looks of it. Pretty old. Seems to work okay. Get it out here where you can see it, maybe. Well, come on out here, Mr. Hall. There we go. There's the unit right there. I don't have a lot of pilots for it, but I got a few of them here. We'll see if we can find one that'll work. I've got a drawer full of stones down here. And we'll see if we can find some stone combinations and pilot combinations that'll work on this head. So let's get on it. Okay, well here's the pilots. I don't have very many of these. So I don't have the correct size. This valve stem is actually 400 thousandths, which is kind of an odd size. I don't know if the valves were made to fit what was left of the bore or what, but they fit nice. So I'm going to use them. I'm going to use this diameter. I'm not going to do anything with the guides. But let me show you, before we get into this, let me show you what's going on here and why I need to grind these seats. So the deal is that the valve seat at this time is not concentric with the guide. In other words, I can stick the valve in here and I can take a little shim stock here and stick under, and it's held good there. Up here though, it's not. It's just not touching. It's not touching. So this seat is going to have to be ground so that it's concentric with the stem, the guide. Matter of fact, I could probably stick a light in here. And if I get this just right, I can see light through there. Let me turn the lights down and see if you can see that. So if you got the light in there, if you close that and it's flat against it there, flat against the seat, you can still see light through there. So that's not going to work. We're going to have to fix that. So unfortunately, I don't have a pilot in my kit over here with the old Hall seat grinder. I don't have a pilot that'll fit, so I'm going to have to make some bushings to go on here to tighten that up and hold it true in the guide, and then I can slip the machine over and correctly grind the seat. So that's the next trick. So I've got you over here on the lathe. This is our pilot. I'm going to make a couple bushings. I got a piece of steel chucked up in here that's roughly sized so I don't have to take a bunch of metal off of it. And we're going to drill it. This pilot is a little bit larger diameter here than it is here. And the way these work is they have an expandable mandrel that when you tighten this up, this nut here on the end, it pulls this little thing. You can see that move. Pulls that and expands a mandrel on there. So I've got to make all that to make this fit our guide. So that's what I'm attempting to do here. And I'm just finishing up drilling some stuff here. Let me see. I had some trouble with the microphone on a previous video, and I don't know if it'll show up on this one or not as noise, but my lathe, the speed control in my lathe interferes with the microphones. So I'll keep this clip short, but give you some idea what we're doing. I'm going to rough out the hole on the inside, and that will allow me to be able to cut the outside to the diameter and then finish the inside, and that'll make our bushings for this thing. So see how we're doing here. I want to make each one of these bushings about 1 inch long, I think. So I'm going to get set up here to turn the outside now. It's got to turn down to 400. So I'm set up now working down the outside diameter. The outside diameter of this is a 1/2 inch, 500 thousandths. Going to go to 400, so we got to take 100 off. It's going to take a little bit. I'll bring it back when we're closer. And let's see where we're at here. .416. 16 thousandths more to go. Okay, I should be there. I remeasured, and I am at 406, and I remeasured the bore over there, and it was closer to this dimension. Let's go see if it fits. Let's pull this out of here. Pretty thin. Let's go see if it fits. This will be the proof right here. Yes. No wiggle. Perfect. Now I want to cut that off about 1 inch long, and then the other part of the mandrel, I don't have the mandrel, it's over on the other bench. The other part of the mandrel is a little bit larger, so I'm going to have to enlarge this hole, this inner hole, on the inner bushing. So we're getting there. Well, to keep from boring you with all the steps, I went ahead and cut these bushings off. One of them's a little shorter than I wanted, one of them's a little longer than I said I would make them, but they're going to work just fine. As I said before, this diameter right here is a little bit bigger, so this bushing will slide up to that and no further, and this bushing will slide onto that and fit just very nicely. So between the two of them, I left the surface finish out here a little rough so that it would hold inside the guide real well. And when I push it in there, it goes in fairly solidly, and man, it's there with no play. So that's gonna work. I'm gonna leave that like that. There's no use to put a drawbar on it back here and draw it in tighter or anything like that. I think that's all I need. So now we can proceed with setting up to grind the new seat. So I'm set back up on my 2x4 blocks here, so it's pretty steady. The part that wasn't touching is back here, so I can see it easily from here. And let's set the machine up and make a cut. There's a stop here that you set. The rests on there. Pull that up all the way. There we go. Let me get that set. So how far this machine sets down on this mandrel, this thumb screw right here will lift the stone up off of the seat. So this depth has to be set, and it's got a Allen key here. I'm just going to drop that down. Tighten the set screw. Then, as I screw this down, it will actually lift that up off the seat. It's lifted it up there now. So as you grind, you turn this and let the stone down on the seat. This handle up here is just to steady it because it does have a little wobble on the pilot. So you just want to hold it steady, fairly centered on there, and let it do its work. Okay, got it plugged in. What you're going to see, the beauty of this machine is the stone doesn't touch all of the surface. The stone actually orbits around and grinds the surface a little at a time. So you'll see what I mean here when I get her fired up here. Do you see it orbiting? If you look close, you can see it orbiting the seat. Now I hear a little rattling going on there, which tells me it needs a little bit of oil. I get over here and get the oil can. And put just a little bit of oil on here. And we're going to start grinding. See how we're doing here. I'll bring you in and show you. Remember where we were seeing light through? It's not grinding there. It's grinding everywhere but there. So we'll keep grinding at it here. Set this so that it pulls up off of there. Now we're hitting all the way around. And that's all I'm going to do on it. We'll take the pilot out, see how the valve fits. Yeah, I'll mark the valve so you can see where it's touching. That brought us up nice. And I see contact there. Let me mark up the seat. And see where it's hitting on it. Oh man, yeah. I like it. I don't know if you can see that or not. Let me bring you in a little closer here. But yeah, it's hitting all the way around. Sorry about the poor camera focus, but I think that'll do it. I think I can probably lap these in now, and that'll probably run just fine. Well, here's another view. Looks fine. I like it. Now, if this were a racing engine, of course you wouldn't want this wide of a contact area, but for these old engines, that's very acceptable. So I'm not going to grind the intake seat. It's been ground before. It looks fine. Contact area is fine on it. So I'm not going to risk the biscuit by grinding a seat that doesn't need it. I think they'll both lap in, and I think that'll make us a good valve job, good seal. Well, we can start lapping them in now. I'm going to squirt some of this stuff out on the table here. EX exhaust. Make sure we're lapping the right one. Put some of this on there. Don't want to get it in the guide. There are machines that does this. There's a suction thing, and I've even got one that pops on there and helps you turn it. I just turn it with the stem over here on my left hand and pushing against it here with the right hand. And once you hear that, you'll actually hear the grains of that compound breaking up, and it gets a little quieter, not as rough sounding. That's when you want to stop. Let's pull it up off of there. It should look gray. Let me wipe it off here. Should look gray all the way around, and it does. Here's where we tell we really did our seat any good or not. And it is touching all the way around. So I think we did good. Let me go ahead and lap in the intake. Get some lapping compound on there. Gonna need just a little bit more. There we go. Intake. Lift it off, put it back down. Starting to get quiet. Let's have a look at that one. Give me a new rag here. And when I get done, I'll take brake cleaner and clean these surfaces. Yes, we've got a good seal. Good seal. So get rid of all signs of this stuff. We don't want it in the engine anywhere. Clean everything up thoroughly and assemble the head, and we'll be ready to put the head on it. Nice and clean now. A little oil on the stem and on the face. There we are. Get the springs on it. Well, we about got this one wrapped. I'll get these cut now, spread out. Had to find a washer that would fit that stem just right, and I did. Some new cotter pins in it, and that's pretty much a wrap on the valve job here. So we'll get the head on it and see what kind of compression we've got.